Let's get right into it.
Number 7.
Ah, yes, the timeless horror story every grandma and elementary school teacher swore by. You crack your knuckles once, and suddenly everyone within a 10-foot radius gasps like you just summoned Satan. The myth goes that every pop of your fingers is another step toward a tragic arthritis-ridden future where you'll need robotic hands just to hold a spoon. But here's the thing. Science says that's pure nonsense. The sound you're hearing isn't bone grinding against bone like some medieval torture device. It's just gas bubbles inside your synovial fluid, basically your joint juice, collapsing when you stretch them out. Think of it like bubble wrap inside your fingers. You're not destroying your body, you're just popping packaging material. In fact, one doctor, Donald Unger, literally spent 50 years cracking the knuckles on his left hand and never the right. The man turned his body into a long-term science experiment. Guess what? 0 arthritis. The only thing he got was a 2009 Ig Nobel Prize, which is like a Nobel Prize but for weird science stunts that make people laugh before they think. So no, cracking your knuckles won't turn you into a creaky old scarecrow. At worst, people around you will cringe and tell you to stop because they hate the sound, which, let's be honest, is really the only crime here.
Number 6.
This one's a classic, the motivational poster favorite. Every self-help guru from the 90s slapped it on PowerPoint slides to convince you that you're secretly a genius who just hasn't unlocked your full potential. Movies like Lucy and Limitless made bank on this idea that if you could hack your brain, you'd suddenly become a kung fu master who also knows how to invest in the stock market. But nope, total garbage. Brain scans show that you're using pretty much all of your brain all the time. Even when you're doing something dumb like scrolling through cat memes at 3 a.m., your neurons are lighting up like a disco ball. Different regions handle different jobs, and they're constantly overlapping. The 10% myth likely came from an old misinterpretation of early neuroscience, where scientists noted that only small portions of the brain were understood at the time, which got twisted into, well, guess we only use that much. Nope. That's like saying you only use 10% of your house because you don't know what the basement does. So unless you've recently had a lobotomy, congrats, you're already running at full capacity. You just don't feel like it because your brain spends half the day making you think of embarrassing things you did in middle school.
Number 5.
You know the scene. Birthday party, cake hits the table, and suddenly parents act like they're about to release a pack of caffeinated raccoons into the living room. No more sugar, they'll go nuts. Except science looked at this and basically shrugged. Multiple controlled studies found that sugar has 0 consistent effect on kids' hyperactivity. None. Nada. Zilch. What actually happens is the power of expectation. Parents think sugar equals chaos, so they start noticing every wiggle, every loud laugh, every tiny jump, and they blame it on the frosting. But really, the kids were already bouncing off the walls because, hello, they're at a party surrounded by balloons, noise, and 5 pounds of adrenaline. The cake is just a convenient scapegoat. The irony? If you tell kids they just had sugar, they'll actually start acting wilder, even if you secretly gave them something sugar-free. That's psychology's evil little magic trick called the placebo effect. So yeah, it's not the cupcake. It's the hype, the context, and maybe the fact that 8-year-olds have the energy of nuclear reactors. Next time someone blames sugar for kids going feral, remind them, the science says no. Then duck, because no parent wants to hear that their sugar gremlin theory is bogus.
Number 4.
This one's been crawling around the internet for decades, and every time you hear it, your skin basically tries to leave your body. The myth claims that while you're snoozing peacefully, spiders are just marching into your open mouth like it's the entrance to Disney World, supposedly 8 per year. Reality check. Spiders don't want anything to do with your disgusting, snoring mouth cavern. You're loud, you're breathing, you're moving. Basically, you're a giant earthquake to them. Spiders are evolutionarily programmed to avoid big, vibrating meat bags, not climb inside them. The myth actually started as an example of how gullible people are on the internet.
An old article in the 90s made up the 8 spiders a year fact just to prove people will believe anything gross and share it. And boy, did it work. It spread faster than, well, spiders in your nightmares. So no, you are not a midnight spider buffet. Sleep tight. The only thing crawling into your mouth at night is your own drool.
Number 3. Poor goldfish. For decades, they've been branded as the idiots of the animal kingdom, the living equivalent of a broken Etch-a-Sketch. The story goes that they can only remember things for 3 seconds, which makes you wonder why we even bother putting little castles in their bowls. Supposedly, they'd swim past it and go, "Whoa, new castle," every lap around. Except, nope. Turns out goldfish can actually remember things for months. Scientists trained them to respond to certain sounds, like feeding bells, and the fish kept that memory long-term. Some even learned to navigate mazes. Imagine your little orange buddy low-key running a miniature escape room in his head while you're out here mocking him. The 3-second myth stuck because it made goldfish the punchline of every bad joke, and nobody bothered to fact-check. But in reality, they're way smarter than we give them credit for. Sure, they're not writing sonnets or balancing your taxes, but they can remember feeding schedules, recognize their owners, and even show signs of boredom if left unstimulated. So, next time someone calls you a goldfish brain, remind them, a goldfish would probably outscore them on a memory test if the prize was food pellets.
Number 2.
You've heard this one. Corpses keep growing hair and nails for days after death, like some creepy, slow-motion zombie transformation. Funeral directors whisper it, horror movies love it, and everyone secretly believes it's true. Because what's scarier than death? Death with extra manicures? Here's the truth. Hair and nails don't keep growing after death. The skin just shrinks. After you die, your body dehydrates, the skin pulls back, and it looks like the nails and hair got longer. It's a total illusion, like when your jeans magically shrink in the dryer. Realistically, once your body shuts down, there's no more cell activity to fuel growth. So no, you won't be sprouting a posthumous goatee or claw extensions. The corpse grooming thing is just another trick of perception. Which is good news, honestly, because the last thing anyone needs is their grandma coming back with a full set of acrylics.
Number 1.
Ah, yes, the ultimate motivational poster lie. You've probably heard this one in some cheesy TED Talk, or worse, in that movie where Scarlett Johansson magically unlocks the other 90% of her brain and basically turns into Wi-Fi. The claim: humans only use 10% of their brain, meaning there's a massive, untapped potential just waiting to make you a genius superhero, time-traveling wizard. Yeah, no. Neuroscience has been rolling its collective eyes at this for decades. Brain scans show activity lighting up across the entire brain, even when you're doing something simple like making toast. Sure, not all neurons are firing all the time, but that would actually be a nightmare. Imagine your brain screaming every single thought, memory, and motor function simultaneously. You'd short-circuit faster than a bargain toaster. The myth probably stuck because it sounds inspiring. Who doesn't want to believe they're sitting on a giant mental treasure chest of unused brain power? But the reality is, your brain is more like an extremely overworked employee. It's already juggling everything from regulating your heartbeat to remembering the lyrics to that dumb song you heard once in 2009. So yeah, you're not secretly a superhero with a brain limiter switch. You're already maxing out your gray matter. And considering how often people lose their car keys, maybe that's for the best. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.